Good morning. I'm Kory, the youth director here at Englewood UMC. And this morning, I want to talk about light. Paul was initially brought to awareness of Jesus by a light that was so bright, it stopped him in his tracks. Paul now shines a light on three important understandings for anyone who desires to shine brightly in the dark days that many of us are currently experiencing in our culture today. With COVID causing illness in many of us and or our families, and in some cases even causing death, many are struggling financially because they're not working due to businesses shutting down. Some of those are temporary, some of those are permanent. Some are honestly struggling with the simple fact of being home and not connected to others like they were. We have civil unrest with political division currently running rampant nationwide. So how can we shine brightly? Number one, light is reflected from us. John 8:12 says, when Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have light of life. Then in Matthew 5:14, Jesus says, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Wait a minute. I am the light of the world, Jesus said. Then he said to you and me, you are the light of the world? Was he confused? Are there two lights? No. Think of it this way. Jesus is the sun, the source of light. We are the moon. We live in dark times, yet as we walk with Jesus, we reflect his light. The moon is not visible during a lunar eclipse because the earth comes between the sun and the moon. In other words, when the world gets in the way, the ministry of the moon can no longer be seen. How about you and me? We are to be the light of the world. Yet how much we allow the pleasures, the pursuits, and passions of the world to creep into our lives will determine how much the light is eclipsed. On the other hand, if we look at Jesus without allowing the world to creep in, his reflection will be clear in our lives. That is why Paul tells us to behold the Lord with an open face, to remove anything in our life that comes between the sun and us. If we do, we'll shine not with the fading light of legalism, but with the glow of the liberty and the spirit which never fades. Number two, light imparted to us. 2 Corinthians 4:6-7 says, for God, who said, let light shine out of darkness, made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of God's glory displayed in the face of Christ. But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. By his Spirit, God places the treasure of his Son into the clay pots of our lives. This is like placing the Hope diamond in a Glad trash bag. After all, it's only logical that if one has a thing of beauty and value, he would have a gold-covered box or something exquisite to contain it. Therefore, it's a mystery, indeed, as to why God would place the treasure of his Son in clay pots like us. Until we realize that God does this, so the excellency of the treasure would be that much more brilliant. Number three, light shining through us. 2 Corinthians 4 goes on in verses 8-10 saying, we are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. We always carry around in our body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be revealed in our body. Finally, Paul says that whenever we go through hard times, there is opportunity for the light to shine forth through breaking of the vessel. As they charged oppressive taxes and plundered the cities, the Midianites provoked the children of Israel mercilessly until God called a reluctant Gideon to deliver his people. When Gideon blew the trumpet and called men to march with him into battle against the Midianites, 32,000 men responded. There are 145,000 Midianites and only 32,000 of us. I don't like the odds, said Gideon. Neither do I, said God. There are too many of you. So he instructed Gideon to tell anyone afraid to go into battle to go home. 22,000 men walked away. 10,000 still too many, God said, and weeded out an additional 9,700 men who drank face first from the river rather than keeping an eye out for the enemy. The 300 remaining men, those who didn't spend unnecessary time doing necessary tasks, those who realized the seriousness of their call and the reality of the enemy, were the men who accompanied Gideon into battle. Following the strategy given him by God, Gideon gave each man a trumpet and a torch within an earthen vessel. Then he positioned them in the hills surrounding the valley of Jezreel, where the Midianites lay sleeping. On the given signal, they blew their trumpets, broke the clay pots, and shouted, "The sword of the Lord and of Gideon." Hearing the sound, the men of Midian stumbled out of their tents, saw the light surrounding them, and no doubt assumed that each torch represented not a single soldier, but an entire division. "We're surrounded by thousands," they cried, and in their confusion, the Midianites began attacking one another. That's from Judges 7. So there was victory in the dark night because the light caused the enemy to be confused and beaten back. But the light could only be seen when the earthen vessels were broken. This is why Paul could say, yes, we are persecuted. Yes, we are crushed. But it doesn't bother us because through this, the light of the Lord comes flooding out of us in ways that beat back the darkness and deception of Satan. As I think through Paul's words, two things happen. First, the light goes on within me. I understand that the Lord allows me to go through times of breaking so that those around me might see his reality shining forth from me. Second, I lighten up as I realize because I'm just a clay pot, I don't have to put on an act or come across as a religious person. As a result, all glory goes out to the power and the mercy, the greatness, kindness of God, who placed in me the unspeakable gift, the incredible treasure of his Son. So today, I ask you, how are you letting the light of Christ shine in your life? Well, we are restricted in so many ways from currently living our lives as we once did. We still have opportunity to shine his light. Maybe it's time for you to be like Tim Allen on Home Improvement and develop a relationship with that neighbor on the other side of the fence. Maybe shining his light is simply walking across the street and checking on those neighbors. Think about all the people you were in regular contact with last Christmas. I'm talking the people you saw at church, the people you saw at dinners that maybe you went out on, or lunches, or people you had coffee with on a regular basis. Now, who of those people have you not talked to in months? Call one of those people each day and let the light of Christ shine bright. Don't allow the darkness and troubles of this world to eclipse his light in your life. Amen. Have a great day.